I still haven't gotten caught up on Clone Wars. Pagan, are you alive?
Hello?
We hear you.
Pagan
but your
froze.
Video froze. Yeah. No.
Ruh-roh.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I hope that doesn't keep
Alright.
happening.
I'm back, Pagan. There she is.
Hello?
I guess I could
Hi.
ask. Yeah, you're there. We got you.
Alex?
What
Yep.
happened?
I don't know. As soon as
Hmm.
you were like, okay, are we ready to record? All three froze, and I was like,
Oh no.
are we recording or what's crack here? And then none of you were answering. And I was like, no. So I had to leave. Came back though.
Actually, I just had a question.
You're all fucking frozen again.
Now I need a
I still see you.
clapboard.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Replayer Podcast. I'm Dan, your host of the show this week. Of course, with my co-host, Pagan.
Hello.
Hi. And guess what? Joining us this week, we have two wonderful new guests. We have Jicori and the one and only Alex.
Hello.
Hello.
Yay. I haven't done that in a while. Yay, Jicori.
Yay.
Yay, Alex.
Alex.
Bringing it back, Pagan.
Bringing it back.
All right, just
Hello, everybody.
kicking off with that energy. Hopefully, I'm not blowing anybody's earballs out.
No.
No,
Not at all.
sounding good. Sounding good.
Cool. Well,
Thanks for
welcome.
being on the show, guys.
Welcome.
Yeah. Pleasure to be invited. So glad you guys invited me.
Happy to have you, and we finally dragged Alex out from the rock that he hides under.
Usually lurking, usually hiding, but yeah,
That
you're right.
rock that they call Australia.
You know that
Time
little
zones,
rock,
man. Fucking time zones.
that little rock called Australia.
Yeah.
Welcome
Yeah, I
to
don't know
the
if you've heard of it.
show.
Small country.
Well, let's start this week off as we do, getting to know our replayer guest, because that's what we're here for. So
Woohoo.
let's get a little bit of information from you guys. Give us your replayer journey, as we like to call it. Let's start with Jicori.
My replayer journey, I have kind of like a short answer and then a little bit detailed answer, but I'll be quick. The short answer
Okay.
is the short answer is I was following both Nolan and Troy on Twitter when they first launched this. So I saw the tweets about it, decided to go watch that first Spider-Man episode on YouTube, and I was hooked. I'm like, subscribe, get notifications. As soon as they announced a membership, I'm
bell.
like, membership.
It's like,
Yes,
hook it to my veins. Just give me all the content.
absolutely. In terms of how I started following them, I'm a general voice acting fan. And so I've been doing a little voiceover myself. We could talk about that another
Nice.
time, but
That's nice.
but I followed Nolan first because I had heard him as Desmond on Assassin's Creed. I played Star Wars: The Old Republic, and he does the Jedi Consular there. So I kind of was following him for a little while, and then it wasn't until later when they introduced Theron Shan in Star Wars: The Old Republic that I got curious as to who was voicing Theron Shan, and that ended up being Troy, and so I was
Of
following
course.
Troy on Twitter as well. Oh, and fun fact, I don't know if anyone's mentioned this here before. If you play Star Wars: The Old Republic, there is an option of playing a male Jedi Consular who is voiced by Nolan North and romancing Theron Shan, who is Troy. So
No way. I
I don't
didn't
know if
that.
anyone actually mentioned that. Yeah,
Well, I
so
knew
you
you could
can
play as the
kinda
character
creepy.
that was voiced by Nolan, but I didn't know you could romance Troy's character, though.
Yeah.
I knew that, I think.
There's going to be a lot of
Oh,
replayers
comment.
out there that are like,
Creepy.
must fulfill fantasy
Yeah.
now. That's great.
That's pretty cool.
Lots of happy people out there now. Like,
Yeah, and I just instinctively kind of got involved in the community because that's what I do when I become a fan of something. I just jump in and get involved in fan communities.
that's making
Can't help
me
it.
that's making me image the like screenshots, like flashing to the screenshots that Drew has been photoshopping on the episodes lately with like Troy and Nolan embracing each other. Good stuff.
I keep
Which is
saying I'm
genius,
gonna
by
do
the
a
way.
playthrough of that at some point on my Twitch
Genius.
channel.
Yes, please. Wait, you have a Twitch?
I do have a Twitch channel.
I did not know this. I am so
Yeah.
sorry. I'll be following you on Twitch after this video.
Cool,
Shortly after this
cool.
podcast.
Be
I'll
sure
be
to
hitting that up.
throw in them socials
Cool.
at the end.
I will do that.
Perfect. All right, let's roll it on to Alex. Give us your history with retro replay.
Mine's gonna be pretty boring, but
That's what we're here for. Give us the boring
So-
details.
Not at
so
all.
my brother Mitch was who's
Shout out to Mitch.
Your
Yep.
brothers.
yeah
This makes so much sense.
Pagan, are you just now learning this? Like,
Listen, I didn't know.
Everyone's
I
just now
know
learning
they
it
were
at
both
some
in
point.
Australia. I didn't know you were brothers. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry to have cut you off there. That was a bit of a bomb moment. Thank you so much for that. Go ahead, Alex. Your brother Mitch.
So around the start of 2018, Mitch had been getting into learning more about voice acting, learning more about Nolan and Troy and a lot of their games. The trailer for the first episode came up in his recommended feed. He watched it, and then through the course of the year, slowly got me into it, and I like the show. And that's
And
it.
that's it.
There
It was
you
just
and
go.
the
like,
rest
I like the
is
show.
history.
Thank you for having me.
It's just
Thank you,
it's
goodbye.
natural.
yeah. It's been great. Is that it? Is that okay?
I guess.
There you go.
No, that's great. That's not boring at all. So you found it through your brother.
Hmm.
That's cool.
All good.
Did you know Nolan and Troy before you started?
I knew of them. I was a fan of Nolan's from starting with Arkham City, with Penguin and that. Well, I'd definitely been a fan of his like before that, because that was, I remember the first game when credits rolled off, I was like, oh cool, Nolan North's in this game. But then
Cool.
so I think I knew him as Cyclops in Wolverine the X-Men, and then Deadpool in Shattered Dimensions prior to that. But so I'd been sort of a fan of his. Troy I hadn't really become a fan of until really properly until I played Tales from the Borderlands, I think last year. So
Cool.
yeah.
I still haven't played that game. I really do need to play that game.
I only played the first 2 episodes still, I think.
Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played that. But then, to be fair, I haven't really associated with the Borderlands game. So like, I don't really know. Me and Dan have tried to play this many a time, and we get like an hour in, and I'm like, "Okay, buddy, good night," and then I never touch it again. So I should probably play that game before playing Tales of the Borderlands, right?
I mean, we almost
Not
played through it.
necessarily. I hadn't
really?
played any of them until I played. I played a little bit of the first one and couldn't really get into it. Then played Tales and was like hooked instantly. It was fantastic. I think
Yeah,
that's
just-
well then,
I
maybe
think
I'll
that's
just
the-
play that.
You're just
that's
more
the
drawn
beauty
to
of it, I
that
think,
storytelling.
is it's sort of like it kind of you don't have to know the source material to like it. It's sort of that's I think in as much as like a film adaptation of a book, you wouldn't have to have read the book first.
Okay,
So I understand it. It's sort of think of it like that.
For sure.
I will. Thank you. I will. Do you know what? I will go play it because I think there's a lot of replayers that really like that game, and they recommended it to me. And I've always thought, for some reason, that I need to go and play other Borderlands games to
Nah.
actually get into that one. But okay, perfect.
At the
I
very
will.
least, I know that Tales has just as big, if not a bigger, fan following than the original Borderlands games themselves. So, and there's so many people that know the franchise through Tales exclusively, and then learn about the other games later on. So yeah.
Tales from the Borderlands is Telltale games, right?
Yeah.
It's so
They're
funny
really good
considering that
storytellers.
like Telltale didn't last long after that.
No.
Yeah,
Rip.
but I think so maybe I won't bring it up, but I mean they've now re-released The Wolf Among Us, right? So have they acquired that studio and the talent and stuff?
There's a
like that? Like, have they
new
just...
studio has been formed around the Telltale developers, and they're bringing back The Wolf Among Us 2 is back in development again. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, because I know you have a pretty good sense of the market as well.
Yeah. I was so it was around the middle of last year. This these two guys from some other game studio, they purchased the rights to Telltale, the company, and gathered back a bunch of the employees from the original Telltale.
No.
And then they said the plan of what they wanted to do is the reason the first one went bust was because they had just so many different IPs that they were licensed to work with. And I mean, they had Guardians of the Galaxy, Batman, Borderlands, Walking Dead,
Game of
Back to the
Thrones,
Future,
Mhm.
Game
Jurassic
of Thrones
Park.
too.
There's a lot of
That's
them.
all of these different ones that they then continually would have to pay the licensing fee for in order to release the games, in order to
Okay.
still have them. And then later turned out the returns they were getting from the games, which were cult hits but never really that big, were nowhere near enough to be able to pay back all the licensing fees for it. So that's why the old one shut down. The new one, they said the plan from the start is to focus on their established franchises and just doing sequels to some of the top rated games they've previously done instead of starting with a new IP every time.
Ah.
That's why The Wolf Among Us 2 is the first one they're going to do, as that was their first big hit, really. And the one sort of, and rumor has it the next thing could be Tales from the Borderlands 2, as I was reading about last night.
Ooh.
Rumor has it. They'd previously said the old Telltale they would definitely wanted to do another Tales, and
Okay.
Gearbox had said they were so happy with the Gearbox developers of Borderlands. They'd said they were so happy with Tales that they'd basically give Telltale full creative control over a second one if they wanted to do it at some point. But obviously, the back burner of then like so many other games they had planned afterwards, it was then obviously shelved, and they had no plans for it until later on. New Telltale, looking back, like, well, that was such a hit. Let's just do that. I can see why they would think that way, as it is one of their biggest games.
So my
They're
first
going-
question I have with that, though, is if they do bring back Tales of the Borderlands, is who's going to do the voice of Reese?
I would say
I would assume it's not going to be Troy Baker now, since
I
they
would
already
assume it would
recast
be.
him.
because he was recast by a different studio basically,
He was.
and for number 3. I was talking to Amber about it on Twitter last night, and how because I did lots of reading about like what the situation was with Borderlands 3 when we went to Supernova last year. When Nolan and Troy were there, that was like the week after it had been announced Troy wouldn't be reprising his role as Reese in Borderlands
yes.
3, and so everyone was asking about it. But and so I was quite curious about it all. And to my understanding, what the main thing behind it all, and whatever other stuff happened afterwards, was that they wanted to make Borderlands 3 be a non-union production, meaning Troy wouldn't be able to be in it. They didn't
That's
tell him
right.
this or something,
remember that.
something along those lines. But my thinking is that that was really his first role with Telltale, was with Tales from the Borderlands.
But then he
After
also
that,
went
they
on
go,
to
okay,
do
we're
Batman.
getting him in to be Batman.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they're obviously very happy with him as an actor. And so my thinking is they would go, well, let's get him back, maybe.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what
I
I
mean, do
think.
you know what?
Makes
That's a
sense.
good theory as well, because the whole
Yeah.
company has obviously gone under and been acquired by a new company. So I mean, yeah, there wouldn't be anything stopping them unless, like, I mean, Garrett, if they're meeting all the requirements that Troy needs and his agent needs to come back, then I feel like why wouldn't
Yeah.
they ask him to come back? Whether he would or not, I guess is up to. Yeah, cool.
So it turns out that
Thank you.
Alex's replayer journey is a little bit more interesting than we thought. So
I feel like he's super clued in about this kind of stuff that I'm just like, oh, is it really? Oh, cool. Like, I'm not at all clued in, but thank you so much.
I'm a big conspiracy theorist when it comes to like different theories and rumors about like games and films and TV and all the different like sort of production happening in the background, that sort of thing.
Get
So
fun.
well, we're here to learn about replayers.
We could dive in.
Yeah.
Could dive in some BioWare stuff, but we're not even touch that.
Well, let's roll on to our new replayer questions. And Pagan likes to do it one guest at a time. I like doing them one question at a time between the replayers. So the starting question is, do you consider yourself a gamer? And we'll start this one with Alex.
Yeah, maybe. I game, but I'm not a gamer. Maybe I could put it that way, or at the very least, I never think I'm good enough. I'm enough of a gamer to be considered a gamer. Maybe.
If we've learned
that
anything
makes
from
sense?
Baker, you are enough for anything. So if you want to be a gamer, and if you would like to be considered yourself a gamer, and you play video games, you're probably a gamer. But I suppose
You're a gamer.
See,
yeah,
now,
I feel like if you play
my
video
rule
games,
of thumb of a gamer is anyone who takes the time and enjoys playing a video game whether it's on a console, a PC, a phone. If you play freaking Candy Crush on your iPhone, you're a gamer, regardless of what you think or say.
Fair enough. All right, I guess I am then.
Here you go. Problem solved.
Excellent.
So, Jicori, let's see what you got.
I would definitely consider myself a gamer. I play deep rather than broad, which is to say I will spend 3 to 6 months on a single game rather than trying to jump around from game to game to game. So
I envy you. I wish I could do that.
I mean, listen.
It's a time thing, right? So I don't have, I'm not gaming every day. I game a couple of days a week. So I don't get a lot of time to just make a lot of progress on a game in a short amount of time, unless it's like a holiday when I'm off work for several days. So that's why it ends up being that way.
So do you think that you'd prefer games that have a bit more to explore then? Or do you just or do you mean it in a way that like, oh, I like this game, it's story-based, say like Uncharted, for example, and then you're going to go platinum game and commit to that one game? Or do you prefer something that's like a more open world where you're like, okay, has a billion things for me to do?
I like open world, but I like a story mission that leads you to discover most of the world beforehand. So something like Jedi Fallen Order, recently loved it so much. I did the entire story on a combination of story mode and the next level up, which I think is Jedi Knight, just to get through the story. And now I'm going back and doing little other things on the planet to, just, when I can. I'm ready to move on to the next game at this point. But yeah.
No, I agree with Jedi. As I've talked about on this podcast before, I cracked out on that game hard, and I also got every achievement / trophy in it. Like, I beat through the story, and I went back and got all the other stuff. Like, I couldn't get enough of that game when I first played it.
Yeah, it's really good. I get super hyped.
I was gonna say you're a fan of Star Wars. All right,
Me?
Really?
You?
Me?
Me?
Are you a fan of Star Wars?
This?
Sorry, I'm just.
You mean that guy? What's his name?
I got my chopper here for everyone.
Chopper.
Fart Vader.
Okay.
I loved it so much. I even got the Black Series of Second Sister.
That's awesome.
Oh,
that's like
Alex is like, ooh.
Really good. But yeah, I get hyped about a game, and then I just, I put everything into that game for a little while. And
that's awesome. I have a few friends like that too.
Burn out.
I always get jealous that they can just like focus on one game, and that's the only game they play until they're like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm putting it to bed. Because I have dozens of games that I play at any given time, and it's hard to keep up with.
It's got to have a story, though. I'm a story gamer.
So, next question is, what is your preferred platform, be it PC, Xbox, PlayStation, whichever, and we'll start with Jicori on that one.
Okay, so I'm going to say that a lot of this... So, I'll preface this by the fact that I am halfway between Nolan's and Troy's ages, okay? So, when Troy talks about his history with gaming, I'm like, checking off every box of my own history of gaming, going all the way back to Atari 2600. So when someone asks for my favorite game or my favorite platforms or whatever, I'm like, you know what? I can't even, because there's like a favorite game for every platform. Atari 2600, Space Invaders, Nintendo NES, Legend of Zelda, Nintendo Game Boy, Tetris, Arcade, Galaga, and Mortal Kombat, Sega Genesis, Mortal Kombat, PS2. I don't know. That was my partner's thing, and I divorced him.
Fuck you, PS2. I ain't touching you.
Done.
No, when the PS2 came out, it was actually the cheapest DVD player.
That's why it sold so many.
Yeah.
That's why we bought it. We didn't actually buy games for it. So For Wii, it was Lego Star Wars. For Xbox 360, it was everything Assassin's Creed. Xbox One, it's been Destiny, Destiny 2, PS4. I just got 6 months ago because I had never had one before. And the only thing I played on it is Uncharted, so I guess I love that.
See, now I already
and
know
for
the answer to that question from you then.
Yeah.
And
I
for
would take-
PC, for PC, it's Star Wars: The Old Republic, just because I've been subscribing for 8.
So you kind of like
8 years.
hit a few things there because you were hitting console with game,
There you
each
go.
one of them. But the question is, what's your
Yep.
preferred platform as far as like your right now, like your modern?
Depends
now.
on the game. Depends on the game. Like
What do you
I get
find yourself-
hyped about a game.
But that
What do
doesn't
you find yourself
answer
playing
that though.
like more of right now? So have you played?
What
some
system
PC
did you
games
play
in a
Star
row?
Wars
Have you
on?
Played like
It's between Xbox and PC in terms of what I use the most. So if because I play Destiny a lot on my Xbox because my partner has an Xbox as well, and so we play together.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I had the Xbox for so long, if a game came out, I just got it on Xbox because, well, I already had the Xbox. You know?
okay.
And if
See.
it was a PlayStation exclusive, PlayStation was priced out of the range of me just wanting to pick up a console for one
Sure.
game. So
Right.
I never played the exclusives until 6 months ago.
I gotcha. Well, I mean, just for the
fair
context of
enough.
it, like for me, like Xbox is my preferred platform. If a game comes out for every console, if it's a multi-platform game, I play it on Xbox. If it's an exclusive, I will play it on the PlayStation, but I don't. My PlayStation isn't my go-to console. I do love
I
that
guess
controller.
I
want one of
admit
those.
that I did get a custom controller for my Xbox.
That's
so
so
maybe
cute.
that does reveal a little bit.
I've been saying
So,
already in my head,
Xbox.
like you're leaning towards Xbox,
leaning towards Xbox.
Leaning towards Xbox.
right? So, Alex, what's yours?
I would say at the moment the two platforms I enjoy the most are PlayStation and PC, and both for different reasons. Like PlayStation is sort of the main sort of gaming one, mainly because I've never really had a computer with good enough stats to run any of the bigger games. But on PC more recently, what I've really enjoyed doing is just going on Steam, indie games, filter by new, and then just go, okay, here's some free demos, like here's a game, like this is the first thing that this developer's made. They were just releasing it for free, going through and just getting about 5 or 6 games in one go, and then just playing through and going, okay, this is interesting, I like this is nice and sort of
That's cool.
out there or experimental. But I'd say like for like of all time, probably have to be PlayStation maybe, because like the first console I
Yes.
probably had was a Wii, I think. But then and then playing that and then sort of seeing all these games that are on like all of the, not so much the PlayStation exclusives, more just all of the bigger console games that aren't on the Wii, and going, oh, I'd want that. And so then we got a pre-owned PS3 in don't know when it was actually, but about 2 or 3 years before the 4 launched, I think.
Okay.
And then the 4 got in late 2015, I think. Possibly gonna
Nice.
get a PS5 at launch, hopefully. But so yeah, by then
Ooh.
that's the point of
Whenever
like,
that might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess like autumn this year.
It's gonna be
Between,
most likely November. November's usually the sweet spot.
Oh really? I would have said like between say like September and November.
I was
Usually
expecting
they
February
go-
next year.
Usually they go later
Really?
because of holidays. They want it out for Christmas.
Yeah.
I guess
well,
we'll find out at
that's a good point.
E3.
Mm.
Well,
But they-
Sony's not
they
going to be at
released-
E3
okay, well, I
though.
suppose-
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was gonna say they released the limited edition, the 500 model one. Wasn't that around like August or something? So I was thinking, would they release 5 a similar time, so between like August and November? But I think it makes more sense, I guess, marketing wise, to release towards the holiday season.
Yeah, that's how
You be
historically
guaranteed some fucking console
Yeah.
sales.
historically most consoles release right before Christmas, like November, October sometimes.
That's smart.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a really difficult question, I imagine, for Jicori.
Oh
What
gosh.
is your favorite game if
Jicori,
you
you
have
said-
one? Now, I say
Okay,
favorite
yeah.
game. If you can say one, like of all time, that's great. If you want to list like maybe a top 5, I'll let you do that. You don't have to go platform by platform. We already did that.
Sorry, guys.
Don't be
it's
sorry.
all good.
Just trying to keep the question focused.
Yeah. So the game that I probably have the most hours in is Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's been I've been a subscriber since the beta prior
Wow.
to the launch in 2011.
Whoa.
But I burned out on that in recent years because raiding just wasn't interesting anymore. And the story was getting released in such small chunks. I still subscribe, but I just am not as active in the game anymore. So it's really hard for me to say, yeah, that's my favorite game of all time when right now I'm in a mental burnout state from it. But
You've
I
been playing it
think
a long time.
yeah, and I still do love it very much. But it was always about playing with other people. Now I think I would kind of say is something between Assassin's Creed as a franchise overall, with the Ezio trilogy being my favorite stories, and Destiny, because I've had just a wonderful time being able to just jump in that game with my partner Hoot, and the two of us just run around planets and shoot up bad guys and do missions and play with cool guns. And I'm not even a first-person shooter person, but because it has that ability to just jump in with someone else, it's been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
and they got a
Destiny's
good
definitely
story
great for
behind it.
that. Yeah, Destiny is always
I'm
fun.
the same. I'm not a first-person shooter at all, but I really enjoy Destiny.
Mhm.
It's a good time, especially for that. Like, it's something that you can co-op play with like a partner or a significant other or something, or just friends in general. It's one of the best games for that, I think, and that kind of goes along with like what we were talking about Borderlands before. Both of those series do a good job with that. Alex, how about you?
I would be able to. I think there was someone asking about on Twitter a few weeks back of like what are your top 5 games of all time? I think I was able to come up with an answer for that. But any favorite game I have is always sort of like dependent on the time. And
Right.
much like Jicori with Old Republic, I'd say 2 that I can list in the same sort of sense that Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Red Dead Redemption 2. And that Odyssey I played from release until I think March last year, like every day, basically.
Really?
Odyssey is a
Nice.
long game. It's
It is.
crazy long.
I haven't finished it either. I'm aiming to get back
Wait,
into it
when
and
was it
finish the
released?
DLC on it. October 2018.
Yeah, it's been a
I've
good
played it
while
until
now.
March 2019.
Oh, okay.
Every day, basically. And then
Wow.
from March then it was, I think it was around January, it was when I started playing Red Dead 2. Played that up through until maybe August, I think. But then recently I've sort of just been, it's more, I like to kind of jump around from other games, but I can sometimes find like the one game that'll sort of like, okay, I'm just going to focus on this for quite a while. Maybe play another one here and there in between, but just focus one at a time. But then it's something will pull me out of it. And then that's kind of what happened with Death Stranding. I was playing that from launch until like, played every day until Jedi released the following week, and then that pulled me out of it. And so played Jedi.
Wow.
And then have been sort of like trying to get back into Death Stranding in the time since.
I'm the same. I'm on the same train as you. Like, I would like to just play a game, not to completion in terms of platinum, but I really like the story, and I just. But I have not been able to get back into Death Stranding. I've got to chapter 6, and I hit a point where I was like, "What?" And then I just turned it off in almost like a temper tantrum, and I was like, "You know what? I'll just come back to this later." And that was probably 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And I haven't picked it up since. And I'm annoyed that I haven't, because I really enjoy playing it when I do play it. But just listen. Sorry, I won't get into it. It will be a rant.
I can relate
Pagan
to that with The
tangents.
Witcher. I did the same thing with The Witcher. It's just like I play a little bit, and then I gotta put it aside for a while.
I wish I
I'm
could
just
go back
starting
and
The
finish The
Witcher. I've
Witcher.
just started a Witcher stream every Thursday, and I'm like 4 hours in, and I'm still not at like the first kind of mission.
Yes.
And I'm like,
It's a slow
Exactly.
burn.
a
It's a
long
slow
game,
burn to
and
start.
yeah, because the problem was like I was like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna play this story, and we have Jonas, who was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. Jonas is always in my streams, and he's kind of like my Drew, if that makes sense, for
Uh-huh.
Witcher, because he knows everything about it.
Guiding you.
And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm just gonna go do this, and he's like, no, you need to level up by doing side missions first. And I was like, okay, but how necessary is that? He's like, no, very necessary. Like otherwise, you
Oh,
will just die over and over again. And I was like, no,
Yep.
really?
And then you're
Are you
gonna start
serious?
rage quitting.
And you'll
He's like,
get
"Yeah,
stuck. You will
100%."
get stuck in a position where you can't go out and fix your armor, and you've got broken armor,
Yeah.
and you're like,
See?
yeah.
Now this
Crazy.
bothers me because I'm like, I just want to play a story game. I just want to play the story. I'm really interested in this story arc. I just wanna go and see the end of this game.
Too
And
bad.
he's like, no, like, this is what you signed into. It's gonna be 90+ hours of like side quests and then
Yep.
story. I was like,
But
Oh,
on that
okay,
note, a lot of the side quests in The Witcher are as good, if not better, than the actual main quest line. Like, some of them
someone else said this
side
to me as
quests
well.
are
They were
so
like,
good.
yeah. Someone else said that to me as well. By the way, I'm really sorry if I talk over you at all. Dan, your audio is delayed slightly on my side, so I don't see your mouth move, and then I'm
That's
talking
fine.
and hear the audio. Sorry.
All good.
But yeah, I'm interested in it. 4 hours in, and I haven't quit yet, so that's good.
86 more to go.
Hey, Hoot's gonna wave
Hey.
into the camera here. Wave
Hi,
into the
Hoot.
camera.
Hello, Hoot.
Hello.
Hello, arm of
Oh
Hoot.
my gosh, he's
It's
such
a
a
Hoot
hoot.
arm.
Does he get that all the time? Like, what a hoot! That guy's such a hoot.
Yeah.
Come on. If he doesn't, that's missed opportunities.
Is he a member of
That's
Hootie and the
his-
Blowfish?
No. His last
Is
name
it-
is Owl. OWLE.
Oh,
Gotcha.
stop.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
his nickname is Hoot?
Yeah. It was assigned by a young friend of his
I was
many
gonna
years
say,
ago. A little
who
girl.
came up with that? Because that person is a genius. That is quality friendship.
It's gold.
Don't ever change, bro. Like, don't ever change. Perfect.
At some point, I'll have to get him on the podcast in the future, and he'll do his best Phil Kensington impression.
Phil Kensington.
For him.
Yes. We always love Phil Kensington impressions. on
All
the
Phil
podcast.
Kensingtons are welcome.
Yes. Yeah. Phil Kensingtons are all welcome here.
Anywhere on the podcast. Okay, let's move on. If you can answer this, because man, we're gonna spend all day on these questions today. At this point, is there any games you're
Hey
looking
man,
forward
I love
to?
it. Get to know the replayers.
this
That's
week?
what we're here for.
It is what we're here for. Is there a game or games you're looking forward to this week or this coming year? And as usual, we exclude The Last of Us as an answer because we just assume everybody's looking forward to The Last of Us.
Go, Alex. What are
So-
you looking forward to?
Watch Dogs Legion first and foremost.
Interesting.
Ooh, that's a new one.
I haven't played the first one. I've played a little bit of the second one. Mitch has played quite a lot of it, and he let me play for one bit. I was just just bought a car somewhere and was just driving around in it, testing out the driving mechanics. But it's second one. It looks interesting. It hasn't really sort of like hooked me that much. But the third one, like just right from the announcement, right from the first trailers, and hearing about like what the premise is, what the engineering side of it of this amazing thing they're doing with the NPC structure in it. I want to play it even just for being able to experience what is this thing that they're making here. And anyone who isn't aware of it, the premise is in a sort of dystopian future London, about maybe between 5 and 10 years in the future from now. There's this militarized police force corporation that's sort of ruling over the city, and then you play as a group of hackers that are going up against them. But the main thing that sets the game apart from any of the others is the fact that any of the, I think it's something like 16,000 NPCs in the world, all randomly generated, can all be played by the player.
Mm-hmm.
All of them with their own dialogue recorded, all of their
Wow.
own place and different performances through
That's
the
crazy.
campaign when you're playing through the story. And I think it's something that you can have up to 20 of them as part of your party at a time.
That's
And
amazing.
Wow.
also of multiplayer as well, with the different so you can have your characters. You can say, okay, this is going to be my main character. I really like this guy. I'm going to play as them. Someone else could have their character. You can then join another player's party. You're playing together like that. But then the main interesting
Oh.
premise is as well the fact that if someone dies, you die. You have to then play as someone else. So it'd bring a whole different quality to going into different missions, because you're going to go in wanting to protect this character that you're playing as. It's not like if I die, I can respawn. It's more like almost like with the horses in Red Dead Redemption. It's
The
like, okay, I
characters
really like this
themselves have
character I've got.
permadeath.
If they die, then they're gone. I'm going to have to find another character.
No
Mhm.
way.
You know what's funny?
So-
Now that you talk about it that way, that reminds me there was another Ubisoft game that also had a similar premise of character permadeath, but not player permadeath, and that was Zombie U on the Wii U.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
I remember learning about that.
Mm-hmm. And the game is playable now on Xbox and PlayStation. They brought it out, made it just zombie, and it's a similar premise where you play as a specific character, but when that character dies, you, the player, respawn as a new character with a different name, different background, different stats.
Oh.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And the old you is a
Interesting.
zombie with all of your gear.
And you have to go back
From
and
what I
kill your
remember.
old self and get your shit back.
Yeah,
Wait,
Wow.
which game was this? The audio cut out. What?
It's zombie.
zombie.
Just zombie? Is this
Zombie.
what it's called?
Yep.
I've never heard of this game.
ZOMBI with no E, I think. It was on the Wii U originally, but
I think
then
it
it's
is.
been released.
Yeah, it was originally Zombie
Oh.
U. Now it's just
Yeah.
zombie.
No.
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed the way that you say Ubisoft.
Me?
I think that's hilarious.
Ubisoft?
Do you say that, Alex? Do you say Ubisoft
I
as
say-
well?
Jokingly, I sometimes say it, but I mostly say Ubisoft.
Yeah, I say Ubisoft.
I say Ubisoft.
Like Ubisoft, and you always
Ubisoft,
say
you'd be
Ubisoft,
hard.
and that tickles me. I'm thoroughly tickled. That's hilarious.
I also heard about with Watchdog Legions that one of the first impressions I heard from, I don't remember who it was talking about the game, they said that they were able to take control of and play as a grandma, and they were like, this is the
Yep.
character I'm going to play with forever.
Oh my
Because
god!
they've got all the characters as randomized as they are. There's sort of like 3 different classes of them, where there's the ones that are more hacking based, the ones that are more just sort of brawling based, and then ones that sort of like spies, and like with definitely looks like they've looked to John Wick for the inspiration of like all of the fight scenes in the game. And so like you could be all the characters have like different backgrounds. You could find someone who is just like a former cop. You could find someone who's just some random person. You might find this old woman who was formerly an MI6 agent and is now through the Legion is able to get back into all of the agenty stuff. But so yeah, that's part of the thing I imagine will be like a lot of the fun in gameplay is just going around and finding like who's the most interesting character you can find here out of like with the craziest background, you know.
Awesome.
And so yeah,
That's a great answer. I'm surprised like we haven't gotten that one before.
Yeah, same.
Oh.
That's never been mentioned before. Description, because I don't really know anything about Watch Dogs, and that is class. I am actually looking forward to that now.
You'll be doing some research. So, Jicori, do you have an answer? Can you answer?
I honestly really can't. I've kind of got a bit of a backlog of games that I'm hoping to get through in 2020. So I honestly have not even been keeping up with news for new
Same.
stuff.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I've been trying to catch up on my backlog too, and based on your play style, the way you commit to a game, I imagine you're like, well, there could be games coming out in 2020, but I'm not going to get to them anytime soon.
Sort of like I'm one of those people who has not played Last of Us because it was an exclusive on a platform that I didn't have. So that's one thing I would like to finally tackle this year, especially with a sequel of it coming out. So,
Me too. Yeah.
and I want to finish
They're
the
making
Uncharted.
a second one?
What?
Yeah.
To that old
Yeah.
game that nobody cares about or talks about?
Yeah. That little indie thing? What? With nobodies in it? Yeah.
With those
that
no
game?
names.
That sounds cool.
Destiny continues to release little bits of its story too, so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes
Yeah,
out this year for that.
that's probably one of the best like persistent games out there that you can just keep playing that game essentially.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Perpetual cycle of gearing up.
that's very true. Let's get to
Yep.
the last question, which I would hope is the easiest question, because this to me is something you have on your mind since you started watching Retro Replay. Is there a game that you would like to see the guys play in the Retro Replay respect? Not a modern game necessarily, but one of the classic games. And anything
Legend of Zelda.
perfect.
I want to see him play Legend of Zelda.
Original?
The original. That's
Cool.
I love that game so much.
That could be fun. I'm sure the guys would have fun with that too and have great comments and humor to go along with just the little bits in that game. Like, it's dangerous out there. Take this with you. Like, I'm sure the guys could make something out of that.
I'd say that there's this really obscure Sega game called Comic Zone.
Oh my god, I know Comic Zone.
Yeah.
I love Comic
Yeah.
Zone.
Yeah, I've it's on the big Sega collection that you can get for I think it's on the Xbox as well, but
Yeah.
you can get it on PlayStation. I've played it. I've played it a bunch of times, and it's just it's kind of weird, kind of funny, but it's also like really well put together.
Yeah.
I think it's like the combat system is really pretty impressive. The premise of being you're a comic writer who is transported into an actual comic by the villain of the comic,
Mhm.
and so
Cool.
Yeah,
They
that's
do
such
lots
an
of stuff
awesome game.
happening
It's such a
Yeah,
it's such
cool.
it's such a Sega game.
Mm.
Like I don't know how else to put it.
Comic
It's a
Zone?
very
I'm gonna write this
Sega
down. I'm gonna-
game. I have that game on my Xbox actually, and I used to play the crap out of it back in the day. And you're right, like it has awesome controls. It had awesome combat. Very interesting premise where you're on a comic
Mm.
book page and you jump from panel to panel to
Yeah.
get through the level.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
It was a very
Yeah, I'd
cool
love to
game.
see
So
that.
cool.
I think the thing I really like about it is playing a lot of the old Sega games. It's sort of a lot of the time the controls are really simple and the game is just hard. It's just you got to just try and strategize at the best. This one, it's almost like it feels easier than the others, but then that's because there's just a little more depth to the controls. There's a little more depth to the combat, and so it's more like what you can do to be able to get through. Your sort of it's more based on what your skill and understanding of how to play it is, rather than just if you can get into the laser focus zone mode to be able to play through it. So that's good for me when I'm usually not that good at most games.
So it's an ideal time for Nolan to give it a try because he's been working his skill.
You're gonna see Nolan get laser
man.
focused and yeah, I could see that one being a good one. So if you're listening, Drew, add Comic Zone to the list. I'd like to see that. I would love to see Zelda, but I have a strong, deep feeling that they're not going to play any licensed Nintendo games.
Yeah, I have
Just
a
based
feeling
on the
that's
fact that they
gonna be the
haven't
case,
yet.
too. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
point.
True.
Yeah. I sent them
That's
a
a really
copy
good
of
point.
Mario Brothers in the hopes that they would play it, and it sits on the shelf behind
Yeah.
them. So I don't see that
Well,
ever happening.
Nintendo is so crazy about in their content,
Yeah.
and it just makes sense. It
They're
makes
very
sense.
protective
So
of their licenses, so I'm sure
Sure.
Nintendo
I'll
would.
hang on to my little fantasy. Oh, of course they've already played Space Invaders, which was such a childhood delight for me. Galaga, if they want to tackle Galaga, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd be good with
That
that
would be
too.
cool.
All right. Anyone else have anything else they want to throw out there before we move on? Last chance. Okay, fine. We're moving on to the Last of Us episode this week. The definitive playthrough, which is technically the last episode. I know we're going to get one more, which will be like
The retrospective.
the retrospective episode,
Yeah.
which is going to have Ashley Johnson in it.
And
Is it going to have Neil Druckmann?
Yeah.
I would hope
I
it
reckon
does.
will.
I would
It's,
hope it
Ashley
does.
Johnson and a special guest. So I'm really hoping.
Yeah, I hope Neil Druckmann's there. I would say he's got to be, especially with how they got Amy Hennig for Uncharted. I would assume they're going to get
Yeah.
Neil Druckmann for Last of Us. Anyways, they
I mean,
did.
though, I think maybe just timing wise, it's an issue because obviously The Last of Us 2
He's
is still-
rapping too. Yeah, I'm
exactly.
sure.
So, but I am hoping because it is confirmed that it is Ashley Johnson and a special guest. I say is confirmed as per
Hope we
Drew
can
in the live
have
chat.
hope.
So
Oh, is that in the live chat that Drew mentioned that there'd be a special guest?
yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Well,
Also,
anyways.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to mention Ashley and Neil did their Left Behind
Oh, right.
stream
Mhm.
on Naughty Dog recently. So I'd assume if Neil does have free streaming time, to be able to do that, then
I actually thought the same thing.
Mhm.
I felt like
Yeah.
maybe they've done the 2 in the one day if possible. Then I don't know where any of their studios are. I don't know where they're recording anything. So, but yeah, that's what I thought exactly that because they did a stream for the 6th anniversary Left Behind for charity. So, yes.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that that's what we get next week, and that's what we'll be talking about next week. But for now, they did bring back the wonderful Merle Dandridge. Am I saying that right? Meryl?
Meryl?
Is it Meryl?
I think they
Well,
say Meryl Dandridge.
Merle. Anyway, she's awesome. I'm glad they got her to come back for another episode. She is actually one of my favorite guests they've had so far because she is like laugh out loud funny with just she shit on Troy pretty good this week too. And I was just like, yes. It's just let's shit on Troy. That's what we do. And of course,
Poor Troy.
Nolan full on supporting like get the stuff, get the things. Like, oh, Nolan.
Yeah.
Gamer of my own heart. So, this was we did see the end of the game all the way up through. And of course, we had all those lovely existential questions, plus the special ending, which I hadn't actually seen up until now, but I had heard about it.
You hadn't seen that?
I had not seen it.
Oh, what a treat.
It was a treat. The look on Nolan's face throughout the whole thing.
I was thinking the same thing. Face.
Nolan's face throughout that whole episode between learning about Ellie having to basically die in order for them to find a cure, and then the special ending that Merle and Troy had recorded. So,
yeah.
Let's throw it to you guys, our lovely replayer guest. How did you feel about this week's episode? Any special thoughts? Any moments that you want to talk about? Anything that stood out to you?
Well, I haven't been watching it, so I'll let Alex speak.
I
Well, then
haven't
you
seen it
go
either.
away.
So
Just to clarify, Jicori, have you watched any of the series on Tuesday because you haven't played it? Or you just
Correct.
avoided it? Oh, so you've avoided
Correct,
it
because
all?
I was told that it's a really good story, and it's best that you just play through it first.
So you're avoiding
You
just
spoilers
spoiled
right
it.
now.
with that.
Shit on you.
So
I'm
I'm-
so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
I mean, I get the spoils anyway because it's been out forever, and
Right.
everyone seems to just assume everyone knows it. So,
So,
I'm
spoiler
not worried
alert.
about that.
Yeah, I feel like we especially at the beginning of these podcasts when they started the Last of Us playthrough, we were talking about it so in depth, and I thought, yeah, what if people haven't played this before? And there have been so many replayers that have come on the podcast. They're like, I actually haven't played it, and this is my first playthrough. But a lot of them were like experiencing it with Nolan, so that they were like, okay, well, I clearly haven't played it till now, but this is the best opportunity, both like the behind the scenes and the story. So they were watching the episode, following along. So God, we are so sorry.
I've
Like,
never
it's been
apologized
really
for it on the
rough.
show before. Like, if you don't know what happens in The Last of Us, that's not my fault because that game has been out forever.
Yeah,
Now.
that's true. It's true. It has been forever.
Yeah.
It's a great story though, and it would be incredible for you to play it. Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
I haven't been watching it either.
How dare you
Because-
both get on this show
Well-
and not watch the retro play?
You guys have just put a
Because I haven't
stake in
played
our
The Last
coffin.
of Us.
You haven't played The Last of Us either, so we've
Nope.
just spoiled it for both of y'all. Oh,
Yeah.
No,
I've
Feel free to
That's it.
talk about it.
I
I
play-
mean, you
I'm
know.
done.
I was wondering why it
Yeah,
was
it's
just
like
me and Pagan talking for a bit. Like,
I've
God.
basically had pretty much, I think there might be like 1 or 2 parts of it that I haven't seen yet, and that I'll be seeing for the first time when I play it. Because I knew the whole plot of the game before Mitch had even played it. He played it first. He was the one that sort of was first getting into it, and so I basically knew the blow by blow of everything that happened through the story before he'd even played it. And then he played it. I'd seen bits and pieces of it, and then obviously, like, I think I remember it was around towards the end of last year. I played the first hour of it, I think, but then I'm probably going to like restart just from the start so I can play it all just like in one go
Oh yeah,
when it
agreed.
comes
I
to
think
it.
if you're just gonna go back
But
to totally restart it and
yeah,
play it from scratch, yeah.
So then,
Cool.
moving
So
on.
that is yeah,
No.
yeah. I think we'll just move on. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of the recent episode, I totally agree with you, Dan. Meryl Dandridge is like the funniest. Like her animated expressions during everything, just her whole commentary was just ace. And Nolan is just never gonna be the same again. Like poor Nolan's face was just like, wait, what? Wait,
Well,
what?
we
And then
can.
just like the very last scene, he's like, huh? I
Huh?
just love that. I think like he's just a changed person. And I really hope that Nolan actually does go and play this for himself and experience the world for himself, because there's quite a lot, like Ish's letters and there's other characters and stuff like that as well that have left notes behind and stuff. So I highly recommend when you guys play it, feel free to explore the world and like grab all the little bits that you can, because they fill the story, like fill the whole world
Yeah.
with stuff that you would never ever know about played through as quickly as the guys did. Great story anyway, obviously.
So we could just give you guys some notes
Um,
for when you do play. If anything, you
Yeah.
can definitely
Yeah.
take your time, absorb, and then take in everything that's happening in the game. Just to give you a little context here, we're talking about the actress who in The Last of Us plays Marlene. And she's one of the initial characters you meet in the beginning of the story that kind of like kicks off the quest. Her character in the game is very serious, very grounded, kind of rough and tumble like Survivor, but the actress who plays her is the complete opposite of that. She's just very energetic, very happy. It was just such an awesome experience to see her sharing her insights. Like me not knowing her as an actress and only knowing her as the character she played, it was like, wow, I never would have expected this kind of energy from the woman who played this character, because it's such a contrast.
Yeah,
I've seen the secret ending of the there was the version from the mocap stage and then the version from One Night Live. I've seen both those, and so I figured, all right, she's a character.
Yeah.
Of like being able to go in on that. And
so good. That whole thing where like given different direction and the just can we just for a second actually appreciate, right? Okay, so Meryl whatever starts singing. This is just like a it's not in the game, Jicori. Just I don't know if you know about this, but it is not in the game. It's just a version of events that happen that basically like they were doing it over and over, and then eventually Druckmann gave Meryl a slightly different direction than he gave Troy, and he was just like, "Hey, no matter what happens, just..." And like, just credit to Troy for actually picking it up so quickly, and like doing that whole musical thing when you sing your thoughts. Like, just genius, absolutely. I think that's such a credit to both of them as performers. Like, holy shit.
In the voice acting classes that I've been doing, a lot of people that come on say, if they're asked the question, what can you do to strengthen your voice acting performance the most? Improv. It comes up like consistently, do improv, learn improv. And it's such a credit to actors when they can do that.
Yeah.
Just
literally why I
like
took
that.
improv last fall was that same thing. That same reason exactly.
I feel like people like Troy and Nolan, I feel like because of their intelligence, wit, and personality, I feel like improv comes quite easily to them. But this is another scale. Like improving musical theater? Like stuff that's not even written? Like that is just a testament to Troy as a musician as well as an actor. And fuck yeah, buddy. Hella impressed. I mean,
I
whatever,
like
he's cool.
improv, but I can't sing with a damn. So
Yeah, like I wouldn't have been
think
able to do that. How did they do that with a straight face? Especially when she starts singing and it like cuts to Troy's reaction. It's almost like you can see the thought process for just a second. Be like, is she? Yes, she is. Okay, this is what we're doing, and then just goes through it. It's wonderful. It's a really wonderful little tidbit. Anyway, we can move on. I'll stop gushing now over the two of them.
I wanted to
Singing
mention
these
one
folks
thing
better.
though,
go ahead.
of
What's that?
along the same lines as all of that. I need to remember what the channel is called, what the video is called. But there's this one YouTube video Mitch showed me of that's this group that do like they're just what are they called? But they just do like sort of flash mob stuff of just like starting somewhere like in a shop where they'll just begin some music somewhere. There was one episode they did where unbeknownst to them, Troy Baker appears in the shop. They start singing I think it's Uptown Funk. They're doing it. He just joins in completely. By the end of it, it's like, okay, so what's happening? And it's like I think that's sort of just as much a testament, to like aside from his improv skills, just the ability, just like he'll just sort of just dive in when something random is happening.
That is
it's
awesome.
like it starts. He's not shocked by it. It's just like.
I think I think
Like,
that
we're
is
doing
great. I
this.
think that is like it's inherent in improv. It's just yes and. So if something's
like-
happening, you just go, I accept it, and I'm giving you this back, and it's just all
Yeah.
this energy. You're welcome. So that's fucking cool. Can you send me that because I want to see that?
Yes.
I'll try and find the link.
So then, since we can't really talk about The Last of Us much more, let's move on. I mean, we could
No,
definitely talk about
not
The Last of Us
necessary.
all
Not
day, but
necessary.
for the sake of anything else, we'll move on to the episode retro replay this week, where the guys played the PS2 classic Max Payne. Have you guys played this game? Do you know this game? Are we gonna spoil anything? Have you seen the guys play
you
it?
won't spoil it. I didn't have this game, but I knew a lot of people who did. So
You're not about to go back and play it, are you guys? We're not gonna spoil anything.
Sorry.
I bought it a few days ago, actually, and
Oh, wow.
No way.
I played through the tutorial level, and yeah, I'm gonna probably get into the campaign soon, maybe. Oh, I could even play that. Yeah, I've just finished. The main game I was playing the most recently was Life is Strange, and I just platinumed that, and so now it's like, okay, that's one done. Okay,
Cool.
what now? And so I'm
Right,
just
right.
trying to find the next game. But
Nice. So you're liking Max Payne so far?
yeah, from the little I've played, seems pretty cool.
Holding up for like a almost 20-year-old game at this point.
Very impressive.
So well
I find.
done. I mean, I loved that use of the comic, kind of a classic comic look, and switching between that and the action of the game itself.
The storytelling in
Love
that game
that.
is awesome.
Hmm.
And I do have a little bits of notes on the game I'd like to mention. There's a reason I want to go over the game and its background, and I'm going to get into that afterwards. So Max Payne, if you don't already know, if you didn't happen to watch the episode, is a third-person shooter video game developed by Remedy Entertainment. I'm going to come back to that. Remedy Entertainment made Max Payne.
Okay.
It was originally published by a studio called Gathering of Developers, and it was later ported to the PS2 and Xbox by Rockstar Games.
Right.
Now, I emphasize that because the guys kind of went on a little tangent about Rockstar. Like Rockstar had developed the game, which I felt was a little bit of a slander to Remedy because they make amazing games. Max Payne, Max Payne 2, they did not make Max Payne 3, but they also made Alan Wake, Quantum Dream, and they just recently put out Control, which actually won Game of the Year with IGN last year.
Control?
Oh, no way!
They made Control.
Shit.
So I
I've
think,
been wanting to play that.
yeah,
Me too.
Yeah,
Remedy is an amazing studio, and I felt it was kind of poopy that the guys were all talking Rockstar that whole time when Rockstar really had nothing to do with it.
Could have just been misinformation though. Like they could have just thought that
I mean,
Good.
I'm sure they saw the same information that we had, because it's clearly, if you look up the game, it says it was published by Rockstar, and it looks like a Rockstar game. I'll give them that. It
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto at a glance. It's easy to make that mistake. But anyways, I just wanted to give Remedy the love that I think they deserve, you know? Just a little...
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I have never played this game, never seen this game, haven't got a clue. When they were like, "Oh, hey, they're gonna play Max Payne," I was like, "Cool."
The Mark Wahlberg movie?
What is that? Yeah, I don't know. So I was like, I was watching it with everybody else in the live chat, and like it gets to a section, and then Troy's like, kind of like reading the plot, and everything's like, "Ooh, should I tell him? Should I tell him?" And then he like reads the plot, and I was like, okay, cool. And I'm focusing on live chat, whatever. And then it like gets to that part where he's talking about his family being murdered.
Yeah.
And like Max Payne's actually coming home and stuff, and it just got real dark, real fast.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting it, and I was exactly like kind of Nolan in that situation where Troy was like, "Oh yeah, no, this gets
Oh yeah, buckle up.
dark," and I was like, what the fuck is this? Even Drew was like, "Yeah, Pagan, it's real dark." I was like, "Okay, this shit is dark. I guess I was not prepared for this today. Thought it was gonna be like a happy level 3. Turns out,
It's like noir on noir on noir.
Yeah.
So
God.
dark.
As soon as I
And
saw
the
the
crying
announcement
baby,
of
Jesus.
as soon as I saw the announcement that they were playing Max Payne, I was like, "Ooh, crying babies. Here we go."
Oh man, I just wasn't expecting it. I was not ready. Somebody should have warned me. I should have Googled this beforehand. I'll do that in future. Because
mean-
I just was like, oh.
They could have cut out all the super dark stuff and just focused on the joy that is bullet time in that game, because that was what sold that game, was the bullet time action. And there was nothing
Yeah.
like it back then, being able to like dodge around a corner in slow-mo and like put a slug in a guy and watch them go, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. I think like The Matrix started that, right?
Well,
They,
that's kind of like what the guys talked about in
know
the
what-
episode.
Chicken and
I
the
know a
egg?
lot of the behind the scenes about the game and how
Ooh.
Just give it to us.
so
Alex did
the
it.
the films of John Woo were the main inspiration for it, which also inspired
Uh-huh.
The Matrix.
Matrix,
in
yeah.
turn. But then
Okay.
when the first demo for Max Payne was shown at E3, they didn't have the bullet time yet, and this was before Matrix had been
Oh.
released. They reworked the game after release of the Matrix, thinking, there it is. That's this is the key. This is how we can add so much to it. And so then it was inspired by the same thing, inspired the Matrix, and then they then added stuff then because of the Matrix that then led to what's really the main key feature about the game, which is
So-
interesting.
So
And I wouldn't doubt in turn that the John Wick franchise was inspired by Max Payne to an extent. As
Mhm.
even just when you
Yeah,
look at the plot
it
of
feels
John
like
Wick
it.
1 and then Max Payne 1, they're sort of very
Mhm.
much in line with each
Yeah.
other. So
Yeah.
So it's still
Cool.
very much chicken and the egg thing. both franchises were
Yeah.
inspired by John Woo. They both kind of bounced off each other in
Mhm.
some form or fashion.
yes, but then Matrix started it. Started bullet.
In movie
Yeah.
and cinema.
And then
Mhm.
in the movie, and then obviously Max Payne
And
was
then
like,
in
"Oh
Max
shit, that's
Payne.
cool. Let's put that in the video game."
Yeah.
There's also not a lot of video games that you did bullet time.
yeah.
Max Payne was one
Yeah,
of
Max
them.
Payne was the first game to properly have it as a gameplay feature. So
What was the next
Yeah,
game?
and an
Fear.
interesting-
Fear had bullet time.
Yeah, like that idea of just simply slowing down what you're doing so that you have
Mm.
time to make a decision, make a move.
Mm.
You kind of see that in the Witcher games
Mm.
now, and it could be that all of those games like inherited that idea of, okay, let's slow it down just a little bit and then do something. You have Red Dead, of course, where you got it slowed down for being able to put your shots in.
That I
Right, doing, like,
Knights of the Old
Deadeye.
Republic had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But so I always wonder whether it all just goes back to Max Payne in that, because I can't think of anything
yeah.
prior to that had that kind of slow down and take action
Yeah. Could be.
gameplay.
That's most certainly what popularized it. At the very
Mhm.
least.
Yeah.
in
For real.
retrospective too, it's interesting to think that Remedy went on to make Quantum Break. Quantum Break,
Quantum Break.
which is almost like a new Max Payne. It was very Max Payne like, but it was not nearly as dark. It was a teen rated game. The themes were not nearly as dark as Max Payne was, but it played off of a lot of the same elements because your character in that game literally had time manipulation powers. So he could do like bullet time, but it wasn't bullet time. And you could do things where you could like cast a bubble of paused time in front of you and then shoot into it, and all your bullets would stack into it, and then they'd all hit the enemy at one time. So you would do these interesting plays off of bullet time, and that's just Remedy taking what they had established, 15 years prior, and kind of went crazy with it and made something new.
I love that seeing one game of like where the developers will introduce some kind of mechanic. Go, that's really cool. Let's run with that in the next one. And it's like in different franchises, it's good to see the escalation, but I love it more when they they make one game and go, all right, new IP, we're running with this thing. There was just a minor part of the other game. Let's make that be the core of this. That's really something I really like to see.
And if you've played any of Remedy's other games, Alan Wake, Control, they're all third-person action-adventure games, and they all have very similar play styles to them, all with a little bit of a different twist. Like Alan Wake was kind of a psychological thriller, a little bit of a horror there, and then Control is more of a sci-fi thriller. I haven't played it yet, but I want to because I know it's a Remedy game, and I know it plays off of a lot of the same mechanics, but they throw in like supernatural abilities like telekinesis, and that just looks awesome. I really need to add that game to my backlog. For sure.
For sure.
Jedi powers.
I really do want to play that game. That game looks so interesting.
Yes.
Surprised I haven't played it already, but yeah, I will. I'll have a backlog. Same as you, Jicori. Same as you, Dan. I just have a backlog.
All the backlog. I finally beat Spider-Man, so I can move some stuff up.
Oh,
yay!
What a great game! I would love to see the guys play that now.
That would be
Or
interesting.
even both
to see.
in one episode, where they do like, let's start
like
with
a
PlayStation,
comparison episode,
and then now let's change to PlayStation 4 and see because they use the same mechanic and everything. Yes, I would really like to see that, please. Excuse me, Mr. Drew, are you there?
Drew, hello, pop, pop, pop.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool for like an anniversary show or something. Started with Spider-Man.
Well, if Drew needs new ideas to fill in breaks, there's an idea for you. Have them do like those comparison episodes of like old and new or something.
So cool.
Yeah.
Drew is totally gonna rip that idea off now, Pagan.
Drew can have it at this stage, honestly. Whole podcast is for retro replay. Fucking take it, Drew.
Yep, that's what we're here for.
Yep.
Take him all.
He's been swinging there for hours.
Frank and Edith is one of my favorite characters, honestly. I love when he's like, over here, it's gonna be a murder. Ready to. Like, I just love that. That's so good. Such good covers.
I like how they tried to go on one of those little rants this episode, but they kind of like flubbed, and Nolan was just like, I don't know where that was going. Just tanked it.
I think their best one of level 3 so far is Phil the electrician. That's great. What do you pay? Yeah, what do we pay you now? Cupcakes? Well, we'll give you more cupcakes. Like, I just
cupcakes.
Brilliant.
Anyways, any other thoughts on Max Payne from you guys?
Yeah, I'll play the game, and I'll probably have some.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Let me play the game.
Yeah,
and then I'll let you know.
And once you both play The Last of Us, we'll have another session. And we can all chat.
We'll have a reunion episode after you guys play The Last of Us.
I'm gonna stream it when I play it.
Cool.
I have finally moved my game consoles. For those actually watching this on video, the computer behind me is my PC for gaming, but I also now have my game consoles hooked up to it. So I can finally stream from them. I have an Elgato like game capture device for
Right.
the consoles, and
That's
I've
what I
had it for a
use.
long time. But the consoles were downstairs on this big TV, and it
Right.
was impossible to try to get everything hooked up down there.
Is that how you
to
guys stream?
stream.
You use this Elgato? Is it a capture card?
This is
It is
my
a
this is
capture
Elgato
card.
right here.
Ah, okay, and that just
Yep,
like hooks up
yep.
your PC and you play it through your console.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it'll
it's
basically
a
take your
pass-through.
image and it'll put it onto your computer, and you can record the image
Ah, sick.
and stream the
Yep.
gameplay.
I'll do
That's
that
how
once
I do it. I'm not a fan of the PlayStation's Twitch overlay, so I prefer not to do that.
I use
I
actually-
OBS for
That was not a
everything,
slight
pretty
to you
much.
at all, Pagan. Your streams are wonderful.
Thank you. Listen, it's all I got at the moment. I have
I know.
plans. I have big plans, but
I
I
understand
need the
that.
money. So I
I
will build a
understand.
PC, and then I will set it all up real nice, and I'll get a nice overlay and some freaking notifications and alerts for when people donate bits. I found out recently. And
Oh yeah.
and subscriptions and shit. Like I just need the notifications to pop up, because the fact that they don't pop up when
Yeah.
I'm playing on my PlayStation, like on the console, really bugs me, because I'll only find out that that's happened like later after I've checked the chat on my phone. It's come up
Mhm.
on chat while I'm playing, so that is annoying, and I will work on it. And we're working on emotes today, so that's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Yeah, so I'll here, hey
Cool.
Dan, so you can watch my
One
streams
step
once
at a
you're
time.
good.
I do
One
try to
step at a
pop in
time.
your stream when I can. If
You do, and I'm super appreciative. Every time you and like Brandy stream, I'm like really late at night.
We
And I
streamed
have-
in the
I have work in the
morning.
morning, and I was like,
we streamed in the morning so that you guys wouldn't be sleeping.
I didn't even see that. You gotta like hook me up. Send me a message.
If you follow me on Twitch, you should get a notification when I go live.
This is the thing. I follow a lot of people on Twitch, and it doesn't tell me.
See, I get notifications
maybe
when you
I'll
go
put-
live, when Grace
Yeah.
goes live.
There's a part you have to turn on if you want
No.
to get.
There's
the
probably a bell of
notifications.
some
That's
sort.
probably what. Sorry, I'll change it.
Anyways, since we're plugging streams anyways, let's roll on to the closing of the show where we let you guys share anything you want to share, including Twitch streams. So who would like to go first?
Go for it.
Does
Alex.
anybody want to share anything?
Okay. I started I think it was 2 days ago, and I'm hoping to do it a lot more coming up. But I had my first ever Twitch stream a
Hey,
few days back playing Dreams by Media Molecule,
Nice.
and
Nice.
What-
so hoping to do that a lot more, because just had a lot of fun playing all these different games, and just being able to talk about them, and being able to look at it from the sort of behind the scenes perspective, going, okay, I'm trying to see how they would have done this, and then I'd love to be able to on Twitter find some of the members of the community, the Dreams community, that develop some of the games, and say, okay, so like being able to almost like get some interview notes or anything about, okay, so what's this one like, what was the process like making this one, what are your plans for it in the future, that sort of thing.
that's
There's
great.
there's really lots I could do with that. So yeah, I'm hoping to do that soon
So
coming
you're
up, and
You're gonna stream you looking at other people's content on Dreams, is what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have done a little bit of the creation stuff on my own, but actually, I mean, Dreams is made for streaming. You can just dive in and go, okay, here's about 12 different games. I'm just going to play through them, and then come back tomorrow, find another 12, So
So
yeah, I'm Twitch at TheNinjaWhippet.
The
all
Ninja
one
Whippet.
word, no spaces. Yeah,
Cool.
and
Oh,
We'll
then
make sure to put that
I
in
am the
the
same
show notes.
same on
Yeah.
Twitter as well.
Perfect. And I was just gonna say too, with Dreams, I recently actually got a copy of that. I haven't tried it yet though, so it'd be interesting.
Oh.
I've heard a lot about Dreams for a long time, and I've heard that there's just some amazing and bizarre nonsense to find in that game. So I'm sure that'll be interesting, and I'll try to check out your stream when you play.
It's incredible what they've made on Dreams, which, like, I mean, we've seen videos of like Fallout,
Dead
Yeah.
Space.
I played the
all this
PT
other stuff,
remake.
Metal
They've got
Gear Solid, and you're kind of like gonna get in trouble at some point, like, because there seems to be no copyright
Yeah.
like restriction. So I wonder if that will be a thing. Now, obviously, I just feel like they probably will never be as good as obviously the games, but you can't
You're
get PT
real
anymore,
close.
and
Yeah.
like now you can play it on Dreams, and it's
Yeah.
fucking accurate. It's insane. So, yeah, that's a really interesting one. I didn't know much about it, but I would be happy to watch the review. That sounds great.
One I might have to play is someone made something called PT The Next Floor, where it's basically like sort of just like a little demo of like sort of a sequel to it.
Ooh.
Where like
That sounds
when
good.
you come around the corridor, you turn around, there's the bit where there's the swinging chandelier and you can see
Yeah.
the little balcony above. It's sort of set up there. And like the first bit,
Ooh.
you walk along and you can look down into the bit where there's the radio down there. It's like, oh, okay, all right, now I
Now you're
see where we are.
upstairs, essentially.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
brilliant.
That's
And they've
cool.
only got like probably 3 cycles to it so far compared to the 12 of the
Something
first
like
one of
that,
like
yeah.
when you go
Mhm.
through the different loops. But I imagine they're going to want to add more later on. It's very
Cool.
interesting so far.
Yeah, I'll have to check
Cool.
that out.
Definitely.
Should I stream me booting up Dreams for the first time?
Heck yeah, why not? I would love to do that. 'Cause
Nobody's
I
gonna
don't know if
watch
I'm
it.
gonna get that, so that'd be cool.
Mhm.
I really like those kind of games though, like where they're like PT and say maybe this demo of PT the third floor or the next floor where it's just almost an experience game because you
Yeah,
have no
yeah.
combat, you have no weapons, you have to
Mm.
experience it, you have to just participate in order to go through.
Dreams is
Love
full
those.
of that. There's so many of them like that. And there's
Check it out.
and all of these where it's like where someone will just like someone's just had an idea and then ran with it and then gone, okay, here's like a little either 3-minute to 20-minute sort of experience of I just wanted this cool idea. I wanted to make something like something sci-fi based, something fantasy based. Here's this thing. Just see if you like it. I really
Cool.
like making it. I'm probably now going to make something else, and then I could come back to that later on. But especially with how new the game is, that's the thing that everyone's sort of just going through, making all these little small projects to start with. There's all the bigger ones that are in development. There's some amazing stuff I've seen trailers for and that people have been making. But there's all these just little ones that you can just sort of experience in like bite-sized gaming. It's something that isn't really a thing in anywhere else where you look at it because it just wouldn't really
Mhm.
work in that way. Because even going on Steam and just like find a couple of little indie games, that's fine. But like you play one, you got to boot up again. These ones you can organize playlists. There's there's people that
Mhm.
just spend time going around going, okay, here's a bunch of amazing games in a list. You can just press play, shuffle, and then put on repeat if you want.
Cool.
And just
That's a great
I look forward to
concept.
checking that out. So the TheNinjaWhippet on Twitch.
Yep.
Perfect.
Sweet. Jicori, you got anything for us?
Yeah, everything sort of kind of centers around my Twitter feed at Jedi Jicori. Jicori is Jicori. At Jedi Jicori on Twitter. I also have a Twitter feed for my voiceover work, which is at Stephanie Does VO.
Nice.
But other than that, I'm pretty much Jicori everywhere, like on YouTube and Twitch and PlayStation and Xbox and Steam. So if anyone's on those platforms and just wants to add me as a friend, yeah, feel free. That's awesome.
Cool.
I guess the big thing that I've got going on is 2 podcasts actually. In one, it's my voice acting stuff with the Potchkey Audio Chronicles. That's potchkeyaudiochronicles.com, and it's on lots of various podcast platforms. It's a comedy detective story, serial detective story.
That's awesome.
And I voice several kind of just one-off characters, but I also voice the character Sally, who starts appearing around case 6. So that when case 6, the episode case, which will be soon, that will be my first one of actually playing a regular character on the show. That's
Yay!
been a lot of
Nice.
fun. She's kind of nasally, and she's like the expert in the office. She knows everything.
That's great.
So, my other
Really good.
podcast is called Gen X Replays After the Show podcast. So before there was a retro replay, I reserved this Gen X replay domain name, thinking I was going to do all this great podcasting stuff with it, where Gen Xers like me would get together and talk about fun subjects. And yeah, that didn't go anywhere. But recently, Hoot and I decided to sit down and start talking about Star Trek Card. That's come out on CBS All Access. So he's a huge Trek fan, and I love Trek so much. And so I knew that would be a fun thing to kind of try to start with for podcasting. So
Nice.
we're giving that a try too.
That sounds really cool.
Thanks.
Definitely have a look at that. I don't know anything about Star Trek, but I'm
Neither
happy
do
to
I.
listen to you and Hoot talk.
We like it's a lot of banter. I kind of use that format of, okay, one person is kind of walking through, here's what happened during the episode, and another person is kind of reacting to it, and a little discussion starts around some of the key plot points.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
I almost said the same thing. I like it.
A lot of fun.
I like it.
On Twitch, I'm hoping to get back to the Untitled Goose Game soon, because God, I love that game
I think
so
we've
much.
I think
It's
we've
so
all
fun
played
to
Untitled Goose
stream.
Game now.
It is so fun to
haven't
stream.
yet. I want to play it.
Oh,
you
people
should,
jump in
Alex.
the chat and they're just laughing. It's great.
So good. Did you say your Twitch is just Jicori?
It's Jicori, Jicori.
I actually recently went back to Untitled Goose Game and restarted it on Xbox, and I actually cleared all the objectives in the garden very easily when I struggled the first time I played it, because I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And then I got the bonus objective, and I was like, oh, awesome. I'm crushing it, apparently.
Crushing it as a goose. Crushing it as a goose.
I do admit I had to Google a few things. Like,
And then
how in the heck do
the
I
child-
get this hat?
The child likes to watch me play, and she goes, where's the duck? Watch the duck?
Oh,
And she'll watch me
so
play.
cute. She's only like 2. She doesn't know the difference between a duck and a goose.
Well, she'll be like, she'll hand me my controller and be like, want to see duck?
I want to see. Can I show you this? Now it's on. Adam recently just got a T-shirt that has on it, and it's just hilarious. I don't know if you can actually see it. Hold on.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Dude,
And
but
so
man
great.
crush.
Like, oh man, they're making they're making good profits off that. I imagine like that is. They have another one that's more like a rebellion one.
Oh, nice.
QWERTY or
Nice.
Honest. If you're in Ireland or possibly Europe, QWERTY.ie. I think it's QWERTY. Like the keyboard, QWERTY keyboard. But QWERT.com. Sorry. If you wanted some shirts, they're pretty great.
That's awesome.
Well,
There you go.
how about it, Pagan? Let's get yours.
How about Pagan?
Hurrah.
How about what now? Yeah, stuff to promote. Twitch. On Twitch now, every Tuesday and Thursdays. The time does fluctuate because I am on shift work, so I do upload time schedules every week on Twitter and on the Twitch account in the description. It should say the times that I'm streaming. Currently playing God of War on Tuesdays, which is completely random. I was trying to get a filler game because I've played God of War before, and I wanted a filler game to just play on a Tuesday so I can still get a game that I've never played before. People seem to be enjoying this one, so I thought, fuck it, I'm just gonna play God of War on this on Tuesdays and then Thursdays. You can also find me on Instagram at Pagan_plays, Pagan_plays on Twitch, Pagan Plays on YouTube. Then just Google or search Twitter for Pagan Plays. See my face pop up.
Because you can't remember your own handle.
I do. It's just hard to say. It's Appleized too, but the L and the E are flipped. So instead of APPLE, it's APPELPYES too.
See, now you can talk about your Twitter handle like I do, spelling it out.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like just search Pagan Plays. You'll see my ugly mug come up, and then just subscribe or follow or just look at what I do, say nasty things. Get off Twitch. Get off Twitter.
Just get it out of there. Just get it over
Yeah,
with.
just get out. Where can we find you, Dan? What you got to promote?
I think like everybody else, I've been doing some streaming, playing on that there
I'm
Twitch.
loving the streaming. By the way. Everyone's like streaming everything. It's
We're all
fucking great.
streaming.
We're all
So
streaming.
fun.
Me and Brandy generally stream on Wednesdays. Wednesday evenings, we've been playing God of War 1, the original God of War. Trying to make Brandy play old school console games that she's never played before because she used to play like Sega Genesis back in the day and then just stopped playing video games, and she started playing PC games, mostly Star Wars The Old Republic. And now I am trying to re-educate her on console games that she's missed out over the years. So we're playing the God of War. I've got a couple of other games lined up. I'm trying to get her to start playing Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil game soon. And we also started playing Darksiders Genesis, which is a super fun action RPG co-op game that we can play together. And we've been playing that on Saturdays, but it's hard to be consistent with that. So we're working on being consistent. But otherwise,
Couch co-op is so fun.
it's the best. And it's so hard to find good couch co-op games. And we're both really enjoying Darksiders Genesis. It's really fun. It's very well done. And we both enjoy it very much.
I'll just plug Dreams a little further. It's they are going to have multiplayer in the game later on, and they're also going to have VR compatibility later on. But at the moment, couch co-op you can do. And there's a huge amount of games for it, actually. When I first started playing it, I just plugged in Mitch's other controller, handed it over to him, and then went through and found all these different like crazy fighting games where you play as two guys doing ballet and fighting at the same time.
I gotta get
And there's like
game,
some
man.
action RPG prototypes that people are working on. There's some really cool stuff in there. Even the lightsaber fighting game. But yeah.
Add
so,
it to the list, Dan.
I could see
Yeah,
me
add it
and
to the
Brandy
list, Dan. I mean,
playing
that
that
could
and
be
just
potential for you guys.
laughing
Yeah,
our
for
butts
sure
off.
for you.
Anyways,
Awesome.
besides Twitch, you can find me on Xbox and PSN and Discord and pretty much every platform. I'm Stark Evil Vash. I made that profile name in the beginning of time when it was Xbox going online for the first time ever, and it's been my profile name for everything. Except for Twitter, I made it a little shorter and sillier. It is Stark E Vash STARK. Why? Why? VASH. Just because it's fun. That's it.
Starky.
Little Starky. Anyways, little shout outs here real quick. Just gotta say thank you to Drew, Nolan, Troy, and PJ for everything you guys do at Retro Replay. Because without you, we wouldn't be here to have our fun replayer guest and podcast. Just everyone. This is gonna be the screenshot.
All
Come on,
of
Alex, get in on it.
All of these. Also, just like the rest of the RR crew, as well as Tom Brex, everybody.
Shout out, Tom.
There you go.
Well done, Tom. Rock those watermelons, babe.
Yes, so you can leave us a voice message if you want. Nobody has. Maybe one day.
Nobody
You
has.
can
I've been
click
thinking
on the-
about it. You know
You
me,
can.
I gotta write
Ah.
script first.
Don't overthink it. Just do it. Send us
We had one
giggles.
voice message.
Besides your
Greg
mom
came through on
and your
that.
mom.
Yeah, we had two. My
Oh.
mom did. My
Woo.
mom left us a voice message, and Greg did.
Aw.
She was the
Yeah.
one that told us that Adam isn't real.
What? That's a lie. That's a
She was the one that broke
big lie.
the hot news on that.
Yeah.
If you've
go listen
enjoyed
to
the
my mom's
Replayer
crazy.
podcast, I'm talking over you, Pagan. I'm sorry. You can like and subscribe, rate, review, and provide comments for us. And you can also write us at the replayerpodcast@gmail.com. If you have an F500 video, send it to us. If you want to make one, send it to us. Pagan, do you want to finish what you were about to say?
Oh, my mom's, don't trust her. Barely let her out of the home. So just.
Does she have a
Don't trust
cage?
anything my mom says. What?
Does she have a cage?
Yeah, she's definitely. That's the only way we keep her safe.
And with that, thank you, Jicori. Thank you, Alex, for coming on the show and sharing with us. Happy to
thank
have
you
you guys
guys.
back in the future.
Thanks for having us.
All right, bye-bye.
Oh.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you guys.
I was waiting
Thanks,
for you.
Alex. Thanks, Jicori. Thank you so much.
And with that, it's game over, folks.